So friends, welcome to the 34th class of the Bhagavad Gita. We are studying chapter 4, and in the last class we covered from shlokas 7 to 13 to 12, and we are going to start with 13 today. So as always, we will revise what we did last time, and the class began with the epic shlokas of the Gita, shlokas 7 and 8, where Krishna says that whenever dharma declines, whenever adharma increases, that time he descends upon earth as an avatar to bring humanity to a higher state of consciousness, to free devotees who are wishing for salvation, and to do various works. So here it is important for us to understand that how does the avatar come down? So it is that from the infinite Sachidananda, from the infinite ocean of existence, consciousness, and bliss, that condescends and descends into a body, and that takes the form of an avatar like the body of Krishna. So you can say that the body of Krishna is formed by the oceanic consciousness of Krishna. The body remains only for a short period of time or a limited period of time, but the consciousness is perennial, it is eternal and infinite, and therefore anyone who wants to connect with Krishna, either through his body, through his form, or directly through the formless Krishna consciousness, is able to do so. Another important point regarding shloka 7 and 8 is that it says that, to destroy evil, the avatar is coming. So is it the intention of the avatar to kill and to cause violence? No. The avatar is not coming to really cause violence or to hurt evil. But the main thing the avatar has to do is to redeem those who are steeped in evil. So all those characters who are playing on earth at that particular time, for example, in Treta Yuga, Ravana was the character who needed to be killed, and through him the evil needed to be killed. Similarly, in the time of Krishna and as the Mahabharata was going on, all those characters who were steeped in evil and because of whom there was peacelessness in the territory, to them Krishna comes, and for them also he's not killing them, he's basically redeeming them. Their evolution towards freedom is enhanced. So all of those people who come in contact with the avatar, whether in a good way or even in a bad way, all of them are redeemed by the avatar. Another aspect that we need to understand here is that the avatar is basically actually coaxing each one of us individually to come back to him. So in one way, he's subordinating evil, or he's killing the evildoers. But on the other hand, because Krishna consciousness is eternal and ever present, that consciousness is also present in all of us. So whenever there is an individual delusion into which a devotee or a disciple falls and this causes him to go towards sense temptations, towards delusion, towards being caught up, towards bondage, then the Krishna consciousness, which is present in each one of us, individually awakens the yearning for soul bliss in that person. We know that Yogananda ji has said that I will work through your own thoughts. So Krishna already is present as Chaitanya, as consciousness is already present within us. And if we have been a seeker of God but temporarily have fallen from that state, that intrinsic Krishna consciousness, our own very soul, helps us to come back from that state to an elevated state. So at an individual level also, the avatar is helping to redeem us and to uplift us. Then in the next shloka, which is shloka number 9, this is what Krishna said. He said, those who can intuit me, intuit my presence, intuit my vibratory condescendence, means the way I have come into this body. So for all those yogi, for all those devotees who understand the vastness of Krishna consciousness and yet understand the form of the Krishna who is playing in the Mahabharata. So whoever can understand these states of existence, he says, they will find me. And we discussed as to what are the steps that we can take so that we too can intuit the presence of Krishna within us right now, right here. And for that, Master explained that the first thing that you need to do is to have that inner and outer renunciation. Your over possessiveness of objects has to be released. That has to be loosened up. Once that starts to happen, then you have to withdraw from your sensory indulgences and you have to withdraw that energy to yourself. Besides that, you have to work up your subconscious mind and you have to work with the past karmas as well. So past karmas, with the help of the guru, either you have to work them out or you have to transcend them out. So once all of these things are done, then automatically your intuition is awakened and you can intuit the presence of Krishna within yourself. Now you may say that this list that the master has given us is very difficult, that it is, if it was so difficult or if it was impossible for man, it would not have been written in a text like Gita, because the Bhagavad Gita is like a manual for human life. Because all of this is possible for a human, and because this is the pathway through which the human will rise from human consciousness into divine consciousness, therefore this is mentioned. It is not so difficult. If we are determined to find God, if we are determined to find truth, then we will find that taking these steps, that means inner renunciation, withdrawal from the senses, this is easier from living the mundane, melancholic and suffering life, daily life that you're already leading. So this you will find easier than that life which is full of struggles, and you will not, be sad at, or you won't find it so difficult to follow this. And then in the next shloka, Krishna is giving encouragement. So in shloka number 10, he says, many have found, many before thee have found, by intuiting his presence, by removing attachment, by removing ire, anger, fear. Many have been, whoever has been engrossed in me. So whoever can intuit the presence of Krishna, whoever having followed the above, prerequisites of renunciation and so on, whoever is engrossed in Krishna will find Krishna. So here it is important for us to understand, what do we mean when we say be engrossed in Krishna? If I were to tell you, you must be engrossed in Krishna, do I mean that you should be engrossed in the form of Krishna, the Murari, the Muralidhar, or the Govardhandhari, that form of Krishna? Yes, that also. So of course, for a bhakta to visualize the form of Vishnu as Krishna, or to listen to his tales from the Puranas, or to visualize directly the idol of Krishna, that is also one way. But for all of us who are having some yogic background, or who are trying to find Krishna right now, right here within ourselves, the truth of Krishna's presence everywhere, what do we do? So how to be engrossed in Krishna would mean to be engrossed in the 8 aspects of the Lord, the 8 aspects of superconscious that we have studied. And what are these 8 aspects? These are love, these are joy, these are light, this is Om, it is wisdom, it is power, it is peace and calmness. Now these are aspects of Krishna, and you can consider them as Krishna themselves. And all of these are playing a role every day in our life. So if I want to merge with Krishna, and somehow my intellect tells me that it is not possible for me to merge in the idol of Krishna, which is correct at level, but I can merge with the consciousness of Krishna. So what can I do on a daily basis? So instead of hate, I can dissolve myself in love consciousness. I can daily live my life in love consciousness. Instead of being restless all the time, I can live myself in the consciousness of calmness, in the consciousness of peace. Instead of living in ignorance, I can live in wisdom. Instead of living in darkness, I can live in light. So if I do all of this, instead of feeling weak as a victim or as a limited being, I can feel the power of being a soul. So this is what I do on a daily basis to merge myself into Krishna consciousness. And then obviously he says, then if you are engrossed in me, means if you are using any one of these aspects of the infinite, or even if you're using the form of God, the name of God, then Krishna says, then you will find me. So this is a promise that Krishna has given through the scripture, and this cannot be falsified. Therefore, if we practice whatever is being told to us, then automatically God realization, Krishna realization, self-realization is already a guarantee in the scripture. Then in shloka number 11, Krishna says, in whatever way people are devoted to me, in that measure I manifest to them. So again, he's saying that, broadly speaking, for the bhakta Krishna can manifest himself in a form that is dear to the heart of the devotee. But for the Advaitin, for the non-dualist, to them, Krishna will express himself as infinite wisdom or as infinite consciousness. And then in shloka number 12, Krishna talks about that in this world, how it is easy to get success, but for people usually worship lesser ideals like name, fame, money, power, means material power, and so on. And for that, they pray to lesser gods, and lesser gods, let's say with a small g. But the ideal, what is the ideal goal? The ideal goal is the one infinite absolute consciousness, whom we can say God with a capital G. So we are wanting that God, but because in this world, by doing certain action, it is easy to get a result. We think that is the ultimate goal of success, and we are caught up in that, and we forget the real goal of unlimited bliss. We forget that it is a possibility for us to be infinite and eternal, to be completely at bliss at all times, and because it is not so tangible. So we are stuck with the tangible results. We want those, and for that we pray to lesser deities and to lesser ideals. So this will bring us to the next shloka, which is shloka number 13. Chaturvarnaya maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasha tasya kartaram api mam vidhaya kartaram avyayam. गुणों एवं कर्मों के विभेद विकरण के अनुसार मेरे द्वारा 4 वर्णों की रचना की गई है। इस प्रकार कर्ता होने पर भी तुम मुझे अकर्ता अविनाशी जानो। According to the differentiation of attributes or gunas and actions or karma, I have created the 4 castes. Though does the doer yet know me to be the non-performer beyond all change. A very, very important shloka, because sometimes the world blames the Gita for encouraging the caste system, which actually is completely false, because clearly in this shloka, Krishna is saying that the differentiation is according to guna and karma. Very clearly, there is nothing in this shloka or this book which says that the caste is according to jati or birth. Now, that is a misconception that came up later in the dark ages. But what the scripture is saying that is that it's because creation is like that. So when cosmic creation came into being, it had 4 aspects. First was cosmic intelligence, second is cosmic energy, third is an organized cosmic law, and fourth is cosmic motion. And say on the same line, when humans were created, there were some people who would express cosmic intelligence more, so more of the intellectual kind, and they are the Brahmanical caste. And there were some who would express the cosmic energy more. So the ruling caste or the protecting class, those became the Kshatriyas. And there was some class of people who would express the law or organization of the cosmos better, and those became the Vaishyas. And there were some who would express the physical power or physical motion better, and those that became the Shudra class. It has nothing to do with anybody's birth or a background. So any caste person means this is the inner prakriti that the person is having, can be born in any family. And of course, this shloka also does not say anywhere that these castes are unequal. So there is no superior, there is no inferior. All humans born of the same consciousness, but because of the gunas and of course some karma, they are doing different jobs. Now, when I say that they are equal, they should be treated as equal and are equal. So just for example, there is a common misconception that people who are intellectual should be considered as higher than people who are doing physical labor. This is not at all true, because if in your organization people who were doing physical labor were not present, then your organization will collapse in a day. It is, everybody has to work together. So even in a big corporate organization, even in a big, let's say, school or college educational, organization, you need people who are administrative, you need people who are intellectual, or like teaching in a school, you need people who are doing security and protecting. You need people who are doing the cleaning stuff. And for all those, you may think, okay, let's compare, an engineer working on a computer system a whole day with a blue collar job, and on the other hand, let's see a mason. So we can say that the mason is incapable of doing the work, or sitting on the computer and intellectualizing his stuff. But equally, the engineer is incapable of doing such hard labor that the mason does for 10 hours a day. So everybody is suited for a certain kind of a work profile, and and society should allow that without differentiating between them, without discriminating with them, between them. One should understand that all of this is part of the variety that God has created, and everybody has the same heart. Everybody has been created by the same Lord. All humans go through same comedies and tragedies, all have same aspirations, and all are looking for happiness. Everybody is actually one. So let's understand the scripture in a higher light, in a more wisdom level, rather than just seeing the superficial differences. And because of our opinion, we may think that intellectuals are superior. That is our opinion. God doesn't say that. The Guru doesn't say that. The scripture doesn't say that. But we have our own opinions because we are so ego motivated that we do not want to see the truth. So therefore, it is important here to really understand what Krishna is saying. He says, according to gunas and karma only, the castes are divided. Now, if we consider the aspect of gunas, so we can see that the Brahminical caste, who are supposed to be more sattvic, so more sattva predominates. And what the Brahmins have to do, they have to perform tapasya and self-control. So that from only from tapasya and self-control does the sattva increase in them. So not only do they have to increase the sattva in them, that is why they are belonging to sattva, but they have to do severe work as well. Because from sattva, they have to then, go beyond the gunas. Then sattva and rajas together, if you see the kshatriyas, they have that quality. So they will protect. So if a person has a lot of energy, but is not protecting, is not a kshatriya. So all those people who perform terroristic acts, they are not sattvic at all. Of course, they are rajasic and tamasic. So when we are talking of a kshatriya class, one who is defending, who is protecting, who is taken care of, the gunas that are combined in him are sattva and rajas. Then comes the organizational or the business class or the vaishyas, and for them rajas and tamas is a combined quality. And for shudras, the tamas is the main guna. And all of us actually have, in a current urban setup, we have all of this. When we do physical labor, we are using the physical cosmic motion as to mobilize our body and do physical labor. Then we are also on a daily basis, we are doing some banking, we are doing some transactions. So we have that Vaishya quality in us. And of course, we want to defend our livelihood. We want to defend the peace of the family, or for some, we want to defend the peace of the community as well. So we have that Kshatriya fighter in us. And of course, we are intellectually motivated. So we have the Brahminical person also within us. So there is no distinguishing feature here, as in where we can say, okay, this person is a completely Brahmanical person and this person is a completely Kshatriya people. In the current scenario, there is a lot of mixture of this. At the meditative level also, Master has said that when you are body bound, then you are at the level of the Shudra. All of us, all humans who are predominantly body bound will be the Shudra at the Shudra level. Now, once from the Shudra level, you start to, have yearning for a higher truth. That very yearning will bring you to the Vaishya level. And from there, if you are working even a little bit, even though just transactionally, but you start to have some soul perceptions, you are evolving from the Shudra state to the Vaishya state. And then from the Vaishya state, once you have, understood some higher principles, and where you have now started to understand that, there is this sense enslavement on one side, and on the other side is the soul intuition and the awakening. Now you become the Kshatriya when you are willing to fight this battle. Once you are recognizing that my sense enslavement is the cause of my bondage, and it is causing me to do more and more karma, and more life and death is going to happen. On the other hand, my soul intuition is awakening me to my self-realization. Once I can see this clearly, and once I am willing to fight this battle within myself, then I am raising myself to the level of the Kshatriya. And then once I have done that, and now I want to be completely free, and I want to disentangle myself from the limited body and from the possession and obsessions of this world, then I have to become the Brahmin, and I have to intellectually plus intuitively, I have to cut all the cords from within which tie me down to this body. So I have to work for my self-realization. Each caste and each phase of our life, we have to do these, and all of them require hard work. Don't think that one caste will have to do hard work, but the other class can just relax. We all have to be on our toes all the time, whichever phase we may be going through, or whichever caste we may think that we belong to. And of course, all of us here present here are predominantly, we are transcending the Vaishya state, and we are going towards Kshatriya and Brahmanical states, because we are very, very interested in the truth. We are very, very interested in God. We all want to transcend our ego, and transcending the ego means we're trying to kill the ego in a sense. That is the Kshatriya bhava. And then from there, we want to have the wisdom where we know who we are, and where we understand what God is and what this creation is all about. Okay. This brings us to shloka number 14. Na mam karmani limpanti, na me karma phale spriha, iti mam yobhijanati, karma bhirna sabadhyate. कर्म मुझ में आसक्ति उत्पन्न नहीं करते, और ना ही उनके फलों में मेरी इच्छाएं होती हैं। अतः जो मुझसे एक रूप है, जो मुझे तत्व से जानता है, वह भी कर्मों के बंधनों से मुक्त रहता है। Actions do not cause attachment in me, nor have I longing for their fruits. He who is identified with me, who knows my nature, is also free from the karmic fetters of work. So we all know Krishna is one of the greatest karma yogi of all times. And here he is promising that whoever understands me, whoever knows me, will also become free from the fetters of time, the fetters of the cycle of birth and rebirth. So the important things that have been said in this shloka is one is karma phale spriha, means one who is detached from the fruits of action. So let's ask ourselves, how detached are we from the fruits of action? We say we want to be like Krishna, but we continue to be attached to the fruits of action. We continue to have a lot of expectations from this world. We continue to live in the false belief that this world is going to give us lasting happiness. As long as we have this false belief, we are in delusion. We are thinking that objects, people, circumstances outside of us are going to give us happiness. Now, this is the biggest delusion that is there, and we are forgetting the truth. So the truth is that Krishna consciousness is within us. The truth is that we need to go inwards to find that, and for that we will have to leave our attachments from the fruits of action. If we can do that, then we are going towards Krishna. We are going to dissolve our egos into the soul. Okay. So then a master says that whoever can follow this rule, means whoever can detach themselves from the fruits of action, then one can play the drama of pleasure or pain, prosperity or poverty, health or ill health, without mental upheavals and karmic consequences. To God, this colossal cosmos is a hobby only. His true children must not take the earthly drama to heart. It is only a temporary activity. Now, this is a quick reminder for all of us. God, this is God's hobby. You must not take the earthly drama to heart. It is temporary. So every time you feel elated in life and you go into that false belief that, yes, this world does give me happiness, remind yourself, this is temporary, even this shall pass. And anytime you are faced with tragedy, with difficulty, with challenges, with tears, with anger, you have to tell yourself, even this shall pass. This is a temporary drama. There is no drama without, you can not only have just comedy in a drama, you have to have tragedy. If there is a hero, there has to be a villain. There has to be the entire set of circumstances which make the drama worthwhile. Only then do we want to visit it. So if we understand now, if Paramahansa Yogananda is saying, and all scriptures have said, that this is a dream drama, this is a Leela of God, how many times do we all remember this truth? If we remember this throughout the day, anytime you feel that your emotions are running out of yourself, they are spilling over, you are irritated, you are angry, you are frustrated, remind yourself, this is temporary, this shall pass, this is God's dream. Just like when you wake up from a nightmare and you completely dismiss the dream and say, oh, it was a dream. So can we remind ourselves on a daily basis that this is a temporary dream drama? If we do that, it is to our benefit. We can be more peaceful. We can be calm at our center. From our center, we can live this life. And then we can see the changing circumstances as a passing motion picture. And yet we can do the best that we can in that time, understanding that this is temporary. But unless this feels like real, this drama won't appear to be that attractive. So for example, if a person playing on the stage, for a moment he's playing his character, and the next moment he tells the audience, no, this is on unreal, this is on unreal, don't believe in this is going to pass, then neither the audience nor the performer nor the director, nothing, you cannot do justice to the drama. Therefore, temporarily, yes, the ego and the delusion is so strong that it makes us forget. But then the scripture like Gita comes in our life. It's because we are fed up with playing this drama that we have prayed for divine intervention, that the Guru has come into our life and he has brought the scriptural truths to our life. Thereby, we can remind ourselves. So even when the actor is remembering that this is temporary, there's no need to say to the audience that, I know this is all temporary. So he continues. So even once the actor on the stage understands that he is infinite and this play is temporary, he continues to play his part in the dream drama so as to, so that the divine play can continue. So even those who are enlightened, for example, the great gurus are born free, but they still play that drama of life because they have to set examples for others, so that we who feel bound can know that a person from a boundation can come into freedom. And following those footsteps and following those examples, we too can set ourselves free. Okay. Being potential gods. So Master is saying you are all potential gods. All human beings, no matter how long bound to rebirths, through the ever-winding chain of karma, will sometime have to make a conscious effort to achieve liberation. So important, very important here. So unless you decide that I want to free myself from this delusion, from this temporary dream play, I am fed up of playing this. So till then, God will not intervene. But the moment you say this to yourself or in your prayer, or you put your kind of foot down and you say, God, I want to know the truth. From that very moment, everything in your life starts to change. As Yogananda ji has mentioned, certain books start to come in your life. You will find people who are indicating you towards a particular direction. And then once the yearning is more fierce and more fiery, then the Guru himself comes and then he gives you his teachings and techniques, holding which you can free yourself from this Leela and from the repeated cycle of karmically caused births and deaths. So although cosmic delusions holds the majority of human beings in its fetters, now and then the few who try hard, they do escape. So you have to make a decision to escape, then you have to try hard to escape, and then he says few. So it's not an easy thing, but it is not an impossible thing. You have to decide what is more difficult for you. Is living this daily life in the same, monotonous way, in the same melancholic way with all the suffering, is that more difficult? Or is trying to achieve self-realization more difficult? So unless you feel that finding self-realization is rather and relatively easier than living this drudgery of this suffering, of wars, of so many difficulties, cataclysms on earth happening. So is this easy or is self-realization easy? And what is more pleasing to the heart is also important. So sometimes you do difficult things, but if your heart really wants, you definitely go for it. Then you don't think that I will have difficulties on the way, I will have challenges on the way. But if your heart is set on that goal, you will, cross all obstacles. So ask in yourself, ask your own heart, does my heart want to dissolve or merge with the cosmic heart? Do I want to feel infinite love in my heart? Do I want to feel eternal bliss in my own being? If that is your goal, and if the answer for all of this is yes, then of course you will take the effort to go on the path of self-realization, however difficult it may be, however challenging it may be, however time it may take. But you have to first set your heart in that direction. Okay. So shloka number 15. Evam gyatva kritam karma puvairapi mumukshubhi kuru karmaiva tasmatvam purvai purvantaram kritam. इसे समझकर ही ज्ञानी जनों ने आदि काल से अपने कर्तव्य कार्य किए हैं। अतः तुम बीते समय के पूर्वजों की भांति अपने कर्तव्यों को करो। Understanding this, wise men who have sought after salvation since pristine times have performed dutiful actions. Therefore, do thou also act dutifully, even as the ancients of bygone ages. So here Krishna is clearly saying this teaching is not new. Nishkam karma is in place ever since human beings are in place. The ability to meditate, or the science of yoga, is present from ever since humanity is present. The bhakti bhav is, or the love is already implanted in our heart. So for as long as human beings have existed, for that much time bhakti has existed. So all the paths to God, they are not new. And so many sages and saints and souls have tried to walk on these paths and have become successful. So can you. If this has been done in the past, it can be done in the present, and it can be done in the future. So, but here, one may say, when we talk of Nishkam karma, so initially one may think that what is life, working without ambition? How do I even, bring out my enthusiasm or energy if I don't have a particular ambition in mind? So, how does that transition happen? So that transition happens once you start observing in yourself that you feel happier. Once you are not fixed on a final fruit of action or a fixed end product, then you working in the present moment is more joyful, it's more fulfilling. And of course, as we've discussed this so many times earlier, it is not wrong to keep an end goal, but you have to realize that all that you do in between, so like materialistic ambitions, intellectual ambitions, all of them are only en route to the final goal of self-realization. So you do whatever you have to do to keep the final goal of self-realization, but in between that, all of those little ambitions, you keep them directionally, you're not fixed upon them, and yet in this moment, you're giving your energy, you're giving your body, you're giving your mind, your full attention, your right attitude, everything you're giving. Why? Because when you give it your all, then you are the happiest person, you feel the highest satisfaction. And if you look back in your life, those were the moments in your life where you put in extra effort. The challenging times were the times that you would still remember and you would cherish. Rest of the life, the daily life, getting up in the morning, going to work, sleeping, you won't even remember. Look back in your life. Only those moments when you gave it your all, those are your good memories. Even when the time was very difficult, today you will say, oh, that was such a difficult time, but I tried my best. I did this, I did that. And that special memory stays with you. It is like your badge of honor. You carry it with pride. So unless you give it your all, you're not fully living in the moment. You are just passing time and life is just passing you. Therefore, moment to moment, if you can give yourself fully and not worrying or fearing too much the future, of course, you have the final goal in mind and a direction is set for you. But yet, moment to moment, giving everything that you have, knowing that God is with you, is working through you, and eventually all this drama is happening for the sake of God. Once you do that, then you are the happiest person in this moment, right now and right here. Okay. So Master here explains, he says, every devotee should learn to discriminate between God-sanctioned actions and desire, material desire instigated actions. Once he has understood, then he must perform the God-inspired actions without desire to be the beneficiary of the fruit thereof. So, of course, the question comes, how do I know which are God-sanctioned duties and which are my material, ego-desired duties? And the answer is, again, Master says, it through a guru preceptor, through his teachings, through his techniques, through the grace of a guru preceptor, you can understand what should you do and what you should not do, what is righteous action and what is the action which is going to karmically bind you. And then how does the guru act? So you may say that, okay, the guru is not in body. How will he tell me? How will I consult with him? And again, the answer is the same, because Krishna consciousness and the guru consciousness is same as Krishna consciousness is within us. And Master has promised that he will guide us through our own reason, through our own willpower, through our own thinking. To those who think me near, I will be near. So if you understand, because when you practice the techniques given by Yogananda, you come in tune with his frequency and you understand that he is ever present and available, so that you can put in your problems in front of him and he can guide you through your own thoughts. But for that, you have to meditate regularly, because there is so much static in your mind, so much restlessness in your mind, so many different directions are simultaneously trying to work out in your mind, that unless you settle those distractions, unless you calm the restlessness of the mind, this inner voice of conscience that comes from the guru or that comes from Krishna, you will not be able to hear it. So therefore, if we want to truly understand what we should do and what we should not do, then we must first calm ourselves. We must first practice the techniques of meditation. We must keep ourselves in tune with the teachings of the Guru. And then the infinite cosmos, the infinite intelligence in the form of the Guru can help us from within ourselves. And interestingly, Ramana Maharishi says that the Guru acts both from the outside as well as from the inside. So what does that mean? So every difficult situation that comes in the life of a disciple that eventually makes him turn inward, know that it is because of your Guru. And then inward, the Guru helps you to raise your energy from the lower chakras up to the spine and up to the point of enlightenment and to the point of liberation. So everything that caused you to raise your energy, everything that motivated you to raise your energy, your increased willpower, your every right thinking, all of that the Guru is helping you to do. So every time a difficult situation comes in your life, and because of that you are getting even more disgusted with the world and say, no, I'm going to go inside myself. I'm going to go to the calmness of meditation. Know that the Guru is creating that situation for you. Nothing happens in a disciple's life without the permission of the Guru, if the disciple, of course, is in tune. If the disciple is following the Guru with all his heart and all his mind, then the Guru guides the life of the disciple. Okay. This brings us to shloka number 16. Kim karmeti kavyopyatra mohita तते कर्म प्रवक्ष्यामि यज्ञात्वा मोक्ष्यसे शुभात्। कर्म और अकर्म के प्रति ज्ञानी पुरुष भी संशय में रहते हैं, इसलिए मैं स्पष्ट करूंगा कि यथार्थ कर्म क्या है, वह ज्ञान जो तुम्हें बुराई से मुक्त कर देगा। So of course Krishna beautifully understands that the devotee's mind is thinking, what is right, what is wrong, what should I do or should I not do anything? And then this shloka and the next shloka explains to the devotee that what should be done. It says, even the wise are confused about action and inaction. Therefore, I will explain what constitutes true action, a knowledge that will free thee from evil. Okay. So it is said that even those who have advanced to an extent on the spiritual path have started to discern the difference between the body, mind, and soul. Even then, unless they are fully free, they are still sometimes subject to thinking that they become the slaves of the mind and the senses. They forget that the mind and the senses were given to them to be their servants. A role reversal happens in this world of temptations, in this world of Maya, and we are only listening to the senses. We are not using our intellect, and of course we have forgotten that we are the soul, and therefore we are in the situation, in the hot soup that we are in. And it is said that even the wise sometimes fall into temptations, and this is, of course, we know, Master says that once you reach the state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, then there is no risk, then there is no fear of falling, because now 24/7 you know that you are part of this cosmic ocean of existence. You are that ever new joy which is ever existing and ever conscious. Once you have that realization, then no karma can bind you, no temptation can tempt you, and then you are in that safe zone. Okay. So, of course, just a broad outline. We'll go into detail of right and wrong action in the next shloka. So, all actions that are done with divine consciousness are considered as right actions, and all actions that are done with ego consciousness are considered as wrong actions. Why wrong actions? Because they lead to pain, they lead to suffering, they lead to bondage, and they lead to the loss of memory of who we are. And therefore, these are supposed to be wrong actions. So, Master explains this a little more. He says, after once attaining ecstasy and communion with God, all devotees must try their utmost to be conscious of the divine state even during the egoic state. So he is saying, once you have tasted even a little bit of peace or calmness or divine consciousness in yourself during meditation, you should, during your daily activities, continue to hold on to that consciousness. Because only when you hold on to that consciousness on a daily basis, you will have a sense of comparison that, okay, my meditative bliss feels like this and a sensual pleasure feels like this. It is so temporary, it is so petty. My meditative bliss is much better. Therefore, I want to stay centered in the meditative bliss. I want to stay calm all the time. Therefore, I will carry that bliss that I experienced in meditation. And slowly, as you meditate over the years, you find that it becomes easier to hold on to that peace. It becomes your nature to be calm and peaceful most of the time. And the more you meditate, the longer you meditate, the more you are tuned to the Guru, this state becomes easier for you. You remain centered most of the time. And it is, of course, in a phased manner, and you have to keep trying at it. Automatically, you don't even realize that after few months to a few years, you are unable to recognize who you were, and you say, oh, I was like that. And those changes have come into you so naturally and gracefully that it is difficult to observe them. But an outsider sometimes tells you that you have become different, you have changed. You also realize it in yourself, that over the years, when I would get irritated on certain situations, which I don't get irritated now, I can control my anger in a better way. I am a more calm person. I am not judging others. I am able to forgive others easily. So you also understand that you are changing. So Master says, hold on to the meditative bliss and peace throughout your daily activities, and also stay very, very alert as soon as a thought of temptation is trying to pull you hold it there, nip it in the bud, and go in the direction of soul happiness rather than sense enslavement. So on the one hand, you carry on the peace into your day. On the other hand, you're intellectually very, very active and alert. And if any enemy or a desire or a temptation comes in front of you, you are easily able to see it and you are able to slay it. And this is how you can avoid falling back again into the zone of temptations. This brings us to the very important shloka, which is shloka number 17. Karmano hyapi bodha avyam cha vikarmana akarmanascha bodhavya gehna karmano gati. कर्म के स्वरूप को जानना अत्यधिक कठिन है। वस्तुतः ठीक कर्म के स्वरूप को पूर्ण रूप से समझने के लिए व्यक्ति को विकर्म तथा अकर्म का स्वरूप भी जानना चाहिए। The nature of karma is very difficult to know. Verily, in order to understand fully the nature of proper action, one has also to understand the nature of contrary or wrong action and the nature of inaction. So there are three words that have been used in the shloka. One is karma, another is vikarma, and third is akarma. So karma is here referring to right action, vikarma is referring to wrong action, and akarma is referring to of right action, contrary action, and inaction. And let us understand what this means. So Guruji explains it beautifully. He says, what is right action? Right action is that which arouses soul consciousness within you, which takes you away from sense enslavement and which takes you towards soul happiness, which helps you to unite your ego to the soul and the soul to the spirit. So any action which is doing this for you, that is going to be considered as right action. And then he says that, action in it itself has no meaning. The meaning to the action is brought out by the intent that is behind it. And we have discussed it many times that, the same action performed with different intention will have a different fruit. A different attitude will bring out a different karam phala. So for example, one person is killing another person. This can happen, let's say, in two situations. In one situation, this is a murderer who's a robber who is killing another person to get the belongings of the other person and is brutally killing the other person. On the other hand, you have the setting of the army where it is the duty of the soldier to kill another person. And the act is the same. The act is the killing, but the intent is different. And therefore, even at the human level, the fruit of action is different. For the murderer, we put him behind the bars in jail. And for the soldier, we give him medals. So both have killed, but yet the intent was completely different. And therefore, the fruit of action will be completely different. So here also Master is saying that whatever action you may do on the outside, the important determinatory factor would be your intent. And God sees the intent. So don't think that, just by an outward show of good actions and yet inwardly, thinking the wrong thoughts or having wrong intent, you think you can escape the law of karma. You cannot, because Krishna consciousness as the witness is already present within you. So I usually say this to people that there are two important reasons why people engage in evil activities. The first important reason is people think that nobody is watching them. And second important reason is they think that this is the only life they have to live. And if this is over, then they don't have to answer for their, the actions that they are doing. Now, these both assumptions are false. Firstly, witness consciousness from which we all have descended is always alive, alert, it's conscious. And every action, every intention, every thought is registered in the ether. On the other hand, as the Gita tells us, and even a little introspection can tell us that this is not just a game of one life. Unless you have answered or you have, you have faced all the results of whatever actions you're doing, this game is not going to be over for you. And that means this cycle of birth and death will continue till you transcend all karma. And here Master is giving us how to transcend karma. He is saying, first from wrong action, shift to right action. And then, of course, after having done that, can we transcend all actions. Okay, so then he talks about vikarma or contrary action. So contrary action is any action, Master says, which is harmful to the body, mind, and soul, and this should be avoided. So for example, at the level of the body, or let's say this, the sense of the taste, is taking poisoned honey a good thing? Of course not. It's a senseless act. Why? Because although it tastes good, but eventually it kills you. Same is for the temptations of the mind. Whatever may appear pleasing to the mind temporarily, but eventually is going to trap you in the cycle of bondage of life and death, is to be given up. You should not indulge in any such activities. And therefore, again, unless you are very alert in your mind about what thoughts are entering your mind and what thoughts you are entertaining, you are not going to be able to distill this. You are not going to be able to distinguish right action from wrong action. So therefore, again, meditate more, be in tune with the Guru, be more introspective, be more inward, and keep a watch over your own thoughts and emotions and correct them as soon as possible. Now, the third aspect of this shloka comes into play, which is akarma. What is inaction? So inaction can be understood at 3 levels. And of course, Master will go into explaining the highest level, the third level. So the first level, we can think inaction means not doing any work. Now, this is not what is meant in this shloka. And anyway, we have read earlier in the earlier chapter that it is not possible not to do any work as long as you are living through a body. Your breath is working, your mind is working, you have to do something, you have to fill your stomach, you have to eat. So not doing any work is not a possibility as long as you are living in a body. The second level of understanding inaction is that the person who is not working for his ego, the one who is working only to please God, can also be considered as being inactive. In the sense, why? Because he is transcending his ego. He is understanding that all of this is happening by the will of God, by the cosmic energy, by cosmic intelligence. So he is trying to give the doership to God. He has understood the truth that God is the doer, and therefore, even though he appears to be active in this world, yet he can be said to be in inaction, because it is not an ego motivated or personal selfish action. Okay, the third and the highest true meaning of inaction is that state of consciousness from which all action is arising. So behind the action of the body is the action of the breath. Behind the action of the breath is the action of the mind. But behind the action of the mind, the breath, and the body is that changeless soul, is the field of inaction which has all the potential actions in it, but yet that which is immanent and transcendent through all the fields of action, but yet in itself is inactive. So achieving that consciousness from human consciousness rising into super consciousness, then to Christ consciousness and cosmic consciousness, that is the way to go into pure inaction. Means going to the point between the eyebrows, transcending, going beyond the spiritual eye, and coming to the state of that high consciousness where everything is still. Coming to the silence of your own soul. And that is the point where you can actually retire from this life, where you can say, okay, I have done everything, and now I understand that my existence is pure consciousness. Only temporarily was I playing this role of this body, mind, and personality, but I am pure consciousness. And as a part of that pure consciousness, there is no need for any action, and there is no need for any karma which can bind me. And avatars do come from that state of consciousness, and they are sinless, they have no karma, and they come free, and they come to help all of us to become free ourselves. So let us all aim. So Master tomorrow is a beautiful day, is Master's Mahasamadhi day. So he is living in that omnipresent Christ consciousness, cosmic consciousness. And through his teachings, he is inviting all of us to come to that state of inaction, to come to that state of pure stillness, to come to that state of pure bliss. He has dropped down so many teachings. He is explaining the scriptures to us through his books. He is telling us what we can do in our body and mind, how we can control our breath, how we can control our mind, so that we can come to the state of consciousness where he is, because he is waiting for all of us and he is loving all of us. So may we all be able to follow his footsteps and raise ourselves to meet him in that soul consciousness, in the blissful spirit. With that thought, we will end today's class and we will share the blessings that we have received with souls everywhere. Let us pray together. Divine Mother, beloved Krishna, great Gurus, thou art omnipresent, thou art in all thy children. Manifest thy healing presence in all bodies, all minds, and all souls. Om. Om. Divine Mother, beloved Guru, beloved Krishna, may thy love shine forever on this sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken thy love in all true hearts. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.